Hi everyone, happy Wicked Wednesday and welcome to Shivers. As an avid gamer, one thing I'm always on the lookout for is an opportunity to combine my love for gaming with my love for horror. Today we're going to talk about some of my personal favorite horror games and mention a few new ones that are set to release in 2023 and 2024. Starting off with The Last of Us, I would be remiss by not starting this list with one of the best games of all time. The Last of Us follows Joel and Ellie across the US in an attempt to save the Earth, essentially, from the zombie apocalypse by creating a cure from Ellie's immune blood. After finally getting to their destination in Washington to the group called the Fireflies, Joel finds out that Ellie must die in order for the cure to be created. After finding this out, Joel loses it and kills pretty much everyone in sight, saving Ellie. We start The Last of Us 2 game with Ellie and Joel a bit older, living in Joel's brother's town/community. Spoiler alert, within the first hour or so of gameplay, the town gets raided by this new group and Joel gets brutally murdered. We follow Ellie for the rest of the game as she works to avenge Joel's death. But then we switch perspectives to this young woman named Abby, whose father was killed by Joel in the first game, and thus caused Joel to die in the second game through her and her community's revenge and efforts. Getting to explore her perspective inside of the story truly makes us question the idea of right versus wrong, hero versus villain, and who we really want to root for. And after 20 plus hours of gameplay, the game ends with Ellie and Abby standing face to face, leaving the audience to determine how they think the game will end. It really makes you want to flip a chair after doing all of that work, but it's incredibly beautiful from an artistic perspective. Along with the game itself, obviously to mention the TV show The Last of Us on HBO, they did a phenomenal job of staying very close to the game. So if you are looking for a new TV show to watch, absolutely would recommend it at tenfold over. The next game on the list is called Until Dawn. So Supermassive Games as a company in general has exploded onto the gaming scene within the past 10 or so years. Their first real game, Until Dawn, is one of my all-time favorites, feeling like both a movie and a game all in one. It's a choose-your-own-adventure game, allowing you to make the story different every single time you play, and have different characters survive or die based on your decisions and quick reactions. Until Dawn, in particular, focuses on a group of college-aged kids going to a mountain cabin for a vacation, only to find out that there are Wendigos lurking in the caves and woods surrounding the cabin. We get to learn a lot about the Wendigo legend through the game, and experience it through the eyes of a traditional millennial, rather than simply hearing about it through something like the History Channel. It's a great way to experience and learn about the legend in a modern way, and really makes you feel like you're a part of it. In addition to this game, Supermassive Games has also created the Dark Picture Anthology, which is a consolidation of choose-your-own-adventure games, each focusing on different real or fake myths and legends. In 2022, Supermassive Games released a game that has secret ties and Easter eggs to Until Dawn, which is called The Quarry. The Quarry is this Lost Carnival werewolf game focusing on a group of teens in their last day of summer camp. If you're into the style of choose-your-own-adventure games or really interested in being a part of a movie in a sense, check out everything that Supermassive Games has put out and you will not be disappointed. Moving on to The Evil Within. This is probably the most sci-fi type of horror movie and more horror game that I would really like to play. It gets a little complex, so I apologize if I leave anything out. But the synopsis of The Evil Within is that we are following this secret society called Mobius in The Evil Within has trapped Sebastian, our main character, who we play as, and his partner, Kidman. And they're using her as an undercover agent for their own wrongdoings. Another member of Mobius created STEM, which is this machine capable of uniting minds into one, with one influencing mind at the core. This person, called Ruvik, is the main antagonist of the game. He's a brilliant but uncontrollable child who is very close with his sister Laura, who is a really grotesque, creepy creature. If you look up just on Google, scariest game villains or monsters, then she will be there. She is scary as hell. um, there was a fire in the barn when Ruvik and Laura were children, which severely disfigured him and killed Laura. His parents thought that he was so disfigured that they hid him in the basement of their home. He eventually got out and killed both of his parents, inherited their money, and donated it to the Beacon Mental Hospital, which is the main setting of the game, so that he could experiment on patients and test the human psyche. Ruvik began designing STEM as a means for him to reshape reality so that he could physically travel back into his memories and live again with his sister Laura. The police then took notice of Ruvik's work and revealed it to Mobius, who wished to use it for their own purpose. As a safety measure, Ruvik calibrated STEM to work only with his brain as the core. In retaliation, Mobius simply killed him and extracted his brain for installation in order to use the machine, thus allowing Ruvik to maintain control of the STEM world. Kidman realizes that Mobius is, in fact, wants to link Leslie as a replacement for Ruvik's brain, Leslie being an actual patient at Beacon Mental Hospital in real life. And so she realizes that Mobius is bad and that she has gotten herself into something pretty grim. The game ends by Sebastian crushing Ruvik's brain in an attempt to stop STEM and Mobius altogether. Sebastian wakes up and sees Leslie leaving Beacon in real life, showing that not all of Ruvik has been destroyed, since Leslie is still alive. The Evil Within 2 picks up with Sebastian 3 years later after The Evil Within 1 as an unemployed alcoholic with a dead child and a wife who left him due to her grief over that loss. Kidman gets in touch with Sebastian and tells him that Mobius took his daughter to use as the new core for STEM since Ruvik is dead and Leslie is gone, and that they need his help in order to find his daughter in the STEM world. His daughter, Lily is her name, and so she is essentially lost in the simulation. The inside of STEM now is called Union, and so they want him to go under and go into the Union to find her. A man named Stefano has infiltrated Union through a different group and has kidnapped Lily to use her to exploit her powers as the new core. Sebastian kills Stefano and Lily gets taken by Theodore, who was Stefano's manager. Essentially, Theo was in Mobius, but went crazy, tried to get Stefano to do his dirty work. A group of Mobius operatives, including Kidman, have attempted to shut down Union from within, but their plans failed when Theo got in their way. Sebastian's old wife pops up and kills Theo, warning Sebastian to stay away from her and Lily, saying she wants to keep Lily safe by trapping her in STEM forever. Kind of the same thing that Ruvik wanted to do with Laura. Sebastian defeats the deranged Myra, and she explains that if Lily leaves, then she must stay to take her place as the core to kill all of Mobius operatives that are left in the Union. Kidman, Lily, and Sebastian escape and survive another day. The credits reveal that the STEM system now lies in the abandoned Mobius facility and reactivates itself, telling us essentially that the simulation never ends. So, the last game to talk about today is Dead by Daylight. Many of you have heard about and played this game, but it truly is every horror fan's dream. A true simulation of what it takes to survive in a horror movie, or to be the slasher in that same movie. There are a multitude of survivors and killers to choose from, with expansion packs available to consumers to play as horror movie icons such as Michael Myers and Laurie Strode, Freddy Krueger, Amanda and Detective Tapp from Saw, etc. Outside of the pop culture referenced killers, many of the killers in this game have stemmed from ancient folklore characters, including the Hag, the Wraith, the Plague Maiden, and Oni. Each character has their own backstory that includes incredible detail on their past and how they have found themselves in the forest, which is the setting in the home screen of the game. Each character was either Lord there or has wandered away from the regular setting to have found themselves trapped in these arena-styled matches where they are tested to either eliminate all players, the killers, or escape the forest once and for all, the survivors. This game not only tests players on their will to survive, but also on their teamwork skills, with 4 survivors playing per round, their ability to work under pressure, their attention to detail, and overall hide and seek skills. Playing this game from either perspective gives players the opportunity to work on these skills in a uniquely pressurized environment that provides more detail and history than what initially meets the eye. It's also a great way to read about and understand the motives behind some of these killers, and receive some more information on the urban legend characters as well, and what they all might have been lured to the forest by. This is not a story style game. This is kind of like Fortnite or Call of Duty. It's you go into a lobby and you play. There is a new Evil Dead game that came out last year that has the same style. You get to play as either the killer, the demons, or the survivors. There's 4 survivors, and every single survivor has a different skill. But it's a great way to just kind of have some fun, blow off some steam, work together with people, and close the game when you're tired of it. So those are my favorite horror games overall. They're all very fun. They all really play at your emotions. And they all really just help you kind of channel those emotions as well and say, like, what would I do to survive? And can I survive just in this simulated world? So, to mention a couple of games that are coming up, we have a really great lineup of 2023 and 2024 games that are coming. So, to start with a bang, we have Silent Hill 2 Remake, which is set to come out this year. We have Silent Hill Townfall and Silent Hill F. So 3 Silent Hill games within the next 2 years, which we can all be very excited about. We have an Amnesia remake. This is an older first-person style game that is a little bit more sci-fi, but also very scary. We have 2 new games, one called Stray Souls and one called Unholy, that were announced at the Video Game Awards earlier this year, where they both look very ghostly, very much in the same realm of The Evil Within. Very spooky, very sci-fi, but story-based games. We have a remake and the next installment of Layers of Fear, which came out on PlayStation probably about 2016 at this point. And it's a fantastic game, but having a new installment and a remake, I'm very interested to see what more they're going to add to it. We have Dead Space, which is going to come out from Epic Games, so if nothing else, we know the game is going to be absolutely beautiful. And the last one to mention is the Outlast Trials. If there are any games that are the scariest games ever made, it is Outlast. Everything feels very real. If you play that game at night, you will be scared. It's very dark, very creepy. Things jump out, tons of jump scares. It's awesome. So the Outlast Trials, this will be a new installment of Outlast series in general, and should be really scary, should be a very good time. I also want to mention an honorable mention. These are Amica games. They are for PC only, but they are some of the most beautiful games that I have ever seen. And every single game, 3 games, are all tied together to create this big overlapping story. So if you're into the details like I am, if you're into the nitty-gritty, I would suggest going on YouTube, doing whatever, looking up these games or playing them yourself, and trying something new. So thank you for listening to today's Wicked Wednesday. For those of you interested in keeping the conversation going, be sure to join the Shivers Meetup page so you too can be part of all things spooky.